I just would like to reiterate a concern that I raised at the last workshop meeting, a non-voting meeting, but one which we attempted to have some consensus on how we work with citizen participation in our community, in particular through volunteer boards. And I was very concerned that we seem to be leaning toward eliminating certain boards, particularly the tree board, some of the other boards, and that we were moving to an appointment process that would simply, each commissioner would appoint somebody rather than citizens who had a passion for a particular area, whether it's tree board or recreation or whatever it is, sister cities, that they would just be able to apply, and we would review all the applications, and out of the pool that was there, select folks that seemed to be the most passionate or had the most expertise to offer, or a combination of both. And I'm just concerned that the approach that we seem to be leaning toward, which I understand we will vote on as an ordinance next time, to me feels like it goes in a very undemocratic direction. It discourages citizen participation, and I've had comments from some of my constituents in the same direction. So that's a comment on that. I continue to have a concern about landscaping in our city. Landscaping is something that this city takes quite seriously. It's something that any city is influenced by what the city looks like. We don't have a lot of budget right now. We don't have a lot of control over some things that we'd like to fix, potholes or various other things. But we've had, over the years, many people who put a lot of energy into what our city looks like in terms of trees and shrubbery. And I'm kind of getting the sense that we're ignoring the expertise that's been in a tree board for a number of years. We do not have an arborist. And I want to make sure that I get a full accounting, and I would ask the city manager to, particularly to take note of this, that this is a formal request, that I would like an accounting of any meetings that have been had with any commissioners regarding, or city staff regarding policy on taking down trees, changing shrubbery, because I think that's something that needs to be a public discussion, that public input can come in, and that there needs to be a mechanism for taking into account the knowledge and previous works that have been done. And so I would like an accounting of any meetings that have happened in the last 6 months or so in that direction.
Yes, sir.
Who was at the meetings, the dates, and what was discussed, and whether there were any minutes taken. I was particularly concerned, I had a technical issue with my email, so I was not able to get into city email until this afternoon, so I was not aware until this afternoon of something that I was very disturbed to read about, that there was apparently in the last week or so public security safety situation where there was a domestic violence situation, and the end result was that a woman is no longer alive and was shot by the police. And I don't know the circumstances. I certainly don't want to put our public safety officers in harm's way, but it concerns me greatly that the end outcome is somebody's no longer alive. And I would like to have, and I will meet, privately with Captain Silva to discuss it, but I also would like to have some sort of an understanding, although the city is quite separate from the police department, I'd like to have an understanding what the policy is on dealing with these sorts of situations. And then finally, those are all kind of heavy things. I read an article this morning that I thought was very interesting and thought was relevant to our city. There are people who do research on, and this is somebody from Harvard, I guess, who does research on comparing somewhat comparable communities and looking at why one seems to weather hardship better than another one does, and whether you can make any sense out of patterns of that. And this one in particular was looking at communities in the Chicago area, the south side of Chicago. Some people know that parts of that are not such an easy place. And one of the comments, and they did, Chatham apparently is a community that's had quite a bit of difficulties, but apparently cares for itself a lot and has done pretty well. One of the things that they commented on was, this is criminologist Peter St. John, analysis of physical spaces. In a community with small buildings, single-family houses, like here for instance, relatively easy for the old lady next door to walk over and tell you that there's trash on the lawn or turn down the music, and pointing out that low-rise communities can have a better record of community safety. And that's something that I think we want to think about. Obviously, you know, you can't take something from another community and completely wholesale apply it here. But I think it's something that we do want to think about. We obviously have and share concerns with community safety. And let's take that into account and learn from other communities as best as we can. And that's the end of my comments.
All right, well, just in response to that one, I'd like you to note that the picture in this article shows a 4-story building right next to a 2-story building. Sorry. Also in reference to the volunteer boards too, that's going to be on the next item so that everyone will be able to talk about the agenda item. In regards to the landscape in the city, I agree. And I think we all are looking for an update, city manager, in reference to the situation with the recent tree on Cultural Plaza. So I'd like an update on that too. And also in reference to the incident, domestic violence incident, I was aware of it from 4:30 this morning when the report came in, and it's under investigation. I'm sure we'll have an update on that. I don't know if you have any update on that situation too, but of course, it's an ongoing investigation, and our hearts and prayers go out to all those involved. Also wanted to give you an update, as I said, on the Metropolitan Planning Organization Board. This work is to advise you that the reference project has been funded for construction in our 5-year work program. It's the I-95 interchange at the 10th Avenue North intersection. The interim improvements include widening the eastbound left turn lane on the overpass, the northbound on-ramp and southbound right turn lane onto the southbound off-ramp, widening the 2 overpass bridges over 95 and over the CSX Railroad, milling pavement removed by grinding and resurfacing, replacing highway signs and pavement markings, replace span wire traffic signals with galvanized mast arm traffic signals, and we're currently working on some pedestrian issues in regards to that area as well, because we know that's an area where there are lots of school kids. So, but I do want you to know that that funds have been approved for that, and so that's in the works.
We actually have a preliminary field meeting with the design engineers from FDOT and staff and the Sheriff's Office because of the pedestrian issues.
Okay, good. That was brought up last time. Okay. Yes,
I'm guessing that this doesn't overlap onto that, but it's almost the same area. I've had a number of residents comment that there's a chronic problem on A Street to get on 10th going out, and this is coming northbound on A mostly. I sort of look, I know the area pretty well, and I don't know, you know, they suggested, well, how about a left turning lane? Don't know where you put it, but
well, the extra ramps on the on-ramps, and the increase of that is going to widen the road so that people can actually scoot over automatically into the turn lanes as opposed to being in the line of traffic.
The other thing is we can obviously ask for a re-examination of the timing and how those lights function over the course of the day as well. The computerized equipment's pretty good these days, so maybe it needs another look.
Yeah.
I just sat there in the previous meetings too, and I just want to let everyone know they were canceling a lot of different projects that have been nixed out of many budgets, and this project made the cut, so I'm very pleased to see we need that. Commissioner Amoroso?
I just want to take a moment and thank staff, thank the Tracy Smith Coffee from the CRA, thanks Juan's department for all the holiday events, the Christmas parade, everything went off phenomenally, brought great amounts of people downtown. I want to thank the newspapers, the Lakewood Herald, and also Willie from the Palm Beach Post for great free press. We can't do it without the free press. And also, I'm hearing great things about the code department. So it's a new year, thank you. Also, utilities is in the room. Things are moving in the right direction. And we're hearing great things. And I try to get people, when they come by and say, oh, I love this, or to put it in an email, because I know a lot of times you see the bad emails, you don't see the good emails. So I'm trying to get people to step up and send that good information. I wanted to mention real quick about, Mr. McCoy, you mentioned doing away with the tree board. I don't remember ever having a conversation about doing away with the tree board. It is not my intention to do away with the tree board. However,